All right, now all of this stuff that's on the warm-up, folks, should be review at this point. All of it could be on your next exam. Some of you really need to make a good grade on this next test. All right, number 1. This is multiplying powers of the same base. Go ahead, Michael.
So you put 3 times... No, you don't. Wait, 3...
You do 3 times 5.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it'd be
15x to the 7th, absolutely. Here's the rule where you count the x's. 3x squared means 3 times x times x. 5x to the 5th means 5 times 5x is here. So if you forget the rule, write it out in its factor form. There are 7 x's there. All right, number 2, this is where you're raising a power to a power. This is a different rule. 5 will get squared just like normal. What's 5 squared? 25. What do I do with these guys? Multiply them. So that's 25x to the 12th. Now, on number 3, here's where I start to see some mistakes. It's just like number 2 with more parts to it. And for some reason, when the number out in front is just a -1, it confuses kids. You do -1 to the 3rd power, which is still a -1. Okay, so that negative sign is still out there. It does not become -3. -1 times -1 times -1 is still -1. Then write down your x, y, z's, and you multiply the exponents. So that's x to the 12th, y to the 3rd, z to the 9th. All right, are we okay with those 3? Here's where I start to see some weird things happen. Is one like number 4, where you're doing both rules in the same problem. This part has to be done first. Why? It's an exponent. You got to do exponents before you multiply. So the 2x4y5 just has to hang out for a minute. What's -6 squared? Positive 36. X to the 5th squared becomes x to the 10th, and y to the 3rd squared is y to the 6th. Now I can multiply the 2x4y5 that was out there. So 2 times 36 becomes 72. I write down my x's and y's and I count them up.
14 and 11.
X 14, y 11. Very good. All right, now area and perimeter in terms of x. Some of you did really good on this on that last quiz and some not so much. So please, let's make sure you know how to do these. On area, will your exponents change? Yes, always, because you're always multiplying x's times x's. So what's the area of this square here? 64, x to the 4th, y to the 6th. Okay, it's 8x squared, y to the 3rd, times itself. 8x squared, y to the 3rd. Yeah, there's 3 y's here and 3 y's here. That's not going to become 9 y's, it's 6 y's. That's when you're raising a power to a power. Now that's if you had done this. 8x squared, y to the 3rd squared, side squared. But still, 3 times 2 is not 9. 3 times 2 is 6. This would become x to the 4th, and 8 squared is still 64. All right, now, perimeter. Perimeter of that guy is adding all of the sides. And they're all the same. So what could you do? Yeah, just multiply by 4. Will multiplying by 4 change the x squared y cubed? Absolutely not. On perimeter, your exponents don't change. That's 32 x2 y3. Right, Michael? Is that what you got?
Yeah.
All right, number 6, area. Area on this one, you're doing 2x to the 3rd times 3x squared times 4x. So what's 2x to the 3rd times 3x squared? 6x to the 5th, and then 2x to the 3rd times this part becomes 8x to the 4th. On area, exponents change. Now, on perimeter, exponents don't change because all you're doing is adding sides, adding like terms if there are any, and there will be some on a rectangle. This 3x squared gets added to the other 3x squared across from it. How much is that? 6x squared. This plus 4x gets added to this plus 4x. Plus 8x. This 2x to the 3rd gets added to this 2x to the 3rd. 4x to the 3rd. And I'm going to put that in front because I like to go highest down to lowest. Now, can I keep going? Can I keep adding those guys? Absolutely not, because they're not like terms. Alright, we're going to grade homework at the end since I'm recording you guys. Let's just go ahead and move on to the lesson. Get your homework out. We'll grade it after we do the lesson. Okay, don't forget, guys, the videos are available if you get home and have forgotten or maybe didn't take great notes or just need to see it again. All you got to do is get on Schoology and you can watch the lesson again. It's numbered by the date. They should be in order by date. So yesterday's video was titled October 23rd, and then it said Simplifying Radicals. Today's video will be titled October 24th, Multiplying Polynomials. Well, sometimes I use the videos from previous years, but the ones on SchoolTube are not working very well. Yes, it's like YouTube except cooler. Multiplying binomials, folks. Okay, this is really not that bad, I promise you. Now, some kids didn't understand what a binomial is, so this part you don't have to write down, but I want to talk to you about the difference between a monomial and a binomial and a trinomial. A monomial is where you've got like one cluster of stuff. 4x squared is a monomial. It can even have more than one variable, like -2, x to the third, y to the 7th, z to the 8th. That's also a monomial because it's one cluster of multiplying. Now, when it becomes a binomial is when I take a monomial and add something to it. That's two terms now. Now, this you can't combine those because they're not like terms. So these are two examples of binomials. Binomials are when you've got two groups separated by either a plus, or it could even be separated by a minus. Now it becomes a binomial. And we have not multiplied binomials times other binomials yet. This is new to today's lesson. So how do you know if it's a binomial? Well, it's got a plus or a minus in between. Now, if I want to make it a trinomial, then I add another term. That's a trinomial. It's got 1, 2, 3 terms. And anything more than that, we just call it a polynomial. Poly means many. Okay, poly means many. Okay, so here we go. We are going to multiply. We're going to start with two binomials. Number 1, 2x minus 4 times 3x plus 2. And again, this is the first time we've done a problem like this. Jeannie, spit the gum out.
Jeannie, why are you chewing gum?
Yes, it will be. All right. Now, we are going to... I want to make sure you understand that this is sometimes called the FOIL method. I usually don't refer to it as this, but just in case you hear it, I want you to know what it means. I really just think of this as the distributive property done twice. Okay, do you see how we have 2x minus 4? That's a binomial. How can I tell? It's got two terms separated by a plus or a minus. Here's another binomial, two terms separated by a plus or a minus. And I'm multiplying this times this. How can I tell I'm multiplying this one times this one? There's parentheses and no symbol. So, this 2x is supposed to multiply by everything that's over here. Well, I'm going to do the 4 too. The minus 4 too. But we got to start somewhere. Let's start with the 2x. So I'm going to grab the 2x and I'm going to multiply it by the first term in the other set of parentheses. It's like the distributive property, yes. I just started. So what's... Well, it's the 2x times the 3x, which is 6x squared. No, you're multiplying two terms times two more terms. Well, that's not what it is. Okay, yes, that's part of it. But there's also two middle terms that are going to happen here. All right, 2x times 3x is how I get 6x squared. Now, isn't 2x connected to this whole set of parentheses by multiplying? Then it's got to multiply by all of it. So, now 2x times 2 is what? Just 4x. Did I multiply 2x times everything in the other set? Now I'm going to grab the negative 4, and now it's its turn to get distributed. What's negative 4 times 3x? Minus 12x. What's negative 4 times positive 2? Negative 8. Now let me just say, if you've got a binomial times a binomial, that's 2 terms times 2 terms. You should have 4 little products. Do I have 4 little products? Yes. Yeah, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Now, I just want to make sure you understand. I did 2 things times 2 things. That's how I got 4 little things here. But I need to simplify. There are some like terms. Aren't these alike right here? So I'm going to put them together. Bring down the 6x squared. What do those end up being? Negative 8x. And then bring down the minus 8. That's your final answer right there. Okay, now let me go back to the beginning and talk to you about what FOIL means. FOIL stands for the 4 little products you get. The first thing I did was 2x times 3x. You remember that? F stands for first terms. I did the first term in this parenthesis times the first term in this parenthesis. The next thing I did was 2x times 2. If you look at the whole big problem, the 2x is on the outside and the 2 is on the outside. So O stands for outside terms. Then I moved on to the negative 4. I grabbed the negative 4 and I multiplied it by 3x. Those are the terms that are on the inside. And the last thing I did was negative 4 times positive 2. Those are both of the last terms from each set of parentheses. So it's just kind of to remind you, you should have 4 little products. The first terms, the outside terms, the inside terms, and the last terms. You should get 4 little products when you multiply a binomial times a binomial. The middle 2 are going to be like terms, so at the end you do have to add them up. So your final answer will only have 3 terms, but your initial answer should have 4 little products. All right, let's try another one, number 2. 4x plus 5 times 3x minus 7. That's a binomial times a binomial. How many little products should I have? 4. So you grab the 4x. You multiply it by everything in the other set. So 4x times 3x.
18.
Mackenzie, are you writing this down? 4x times 3x is 12x squared. X times x is x squared. All right, and then 4x times negative 7. Negative 28x. So I did the first terms, I did my outside terms. Now I'm about to do my inside terms. What's positive 5 times 3x? 15x. And then I do my 2 last terms. Positive 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Did I get 4 little products? Yes. Positive 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. All right, and then make sure you simplify if you can, and on these problems you should be able to simplify. 12x squared stays the same, but these are both x's. I need to combine them together. This is negative 13x, and then you have that minus 35 on the end. This isn't so bad, right? How did I make it seem harder than it was? I was telling you how to do it. How did I get 13? Let's go back. Negative 28 and positive 15. Negative 13. Okay. Look at this one, please. 3x plus 4 times 3x minus 4. Something weird's going to happen on this one. Mackenzie, write this down and do it.
Mackenzie, write it down.
All right. What do you notice about these two factors? These two. They're almost the exact same binomial, except one's got a plus and one's got a minus. And yes, something is going to cancel. No, not the 4s. Just multiply it out and you'll see what's going to cancel. Yeah, you're going to get the exact opposite 2 middle terms, okay? So, because 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Here comes my first middle term. That's a negative 12x. My next middle term is a positive 12x, and my last term is a negative 16. So what happens to those guys? They cancel out. So now I have 9x squared minus 16. But I did have 4 little products until the middle two canceled each other out. It's not that bad, right? Now, I want to make sure you're ready for the homework. There's several other things we still need to do. Look, let's try to kick it up a notch. Look at this one, number 4. 2y minus 3m times 4y plus 6m. Do we need to do this one together? Yes. Very good. Your middle terms, I think you're noticing, are going to have a y and an m. And it doesn't matter which one you put first. You could put my or ym. Well, there you go. All right, so 2y times 4y, 8y squared. 2y times 6m.
Plus 12ym.
It's either 12ym or 12my. And yes, if we want to be alphabetical, we'll go my. What's negative 3m times positive 4m? Oh, I made these cancel out too. I didn't mean to do that. But this is negative 12 my's. And negative 3m times positive 6m? Negative 18m squared. Now, if you end up with 2 of the same letters, folks, please listen up. I do want you to put them in the same order for your middle terms. Like, don't make one an my and one a ym, because I want you to see that they are like terms. An my and a ym are the same thing. And it just so happened, I didn't mean for this to happen, I made it up. But what happens to these? They canceled out. They won't always cancel out. So it's 8y squared minus 18m squared. All right, now here's another thing you're going to encounter where you're doing a trinomial times a binomial. It's not bad. Calm down. Okay, we'll go back and change your title to multiplying binomials and trinomials. Okay, now, do you see why this is called a binomial? Because it's got 2 terms. This is called a trinomial because it's got 3 terms. Hush, please. How many little products should I have? 6. 2 terms times 3 terms should give me 6 little products. And yes, at the end you will have some like terms to put together. Yes. Okay. You're going to get 6 little products at first, and then I think you'll have 2 sets of like terms to put together. All right, 2x times 3x squared. 6x to the third. 2x times 4x. 8x. 2x times negative 2. Oh, I'm sorry, 8x squared. Thank you. That's what I said, 8x squared. And then 2x times negative 2. Negative 4x. Okay, so I'm done with the 2x. Now I move on to the negative 6. Negative 6 times 3x squared. Negative 18x squared. Jacob, are you doing this one? Negative 6 times positive 4x. Minus 24x. And then negative 6 times negative 2. Plus 12, and that's where I get my 6 little products. Now, add up your like terms. 6x to the third, I just bring it down. But I've got 2 groups of x squareds, 8 of them and negative 18 of them. How much is that? Negative 10 of them. A negative 4x and a negative 24x. Negative 28x, and then bring down the plus 12. Okay, now let me show you where I start to see weird things happening. Think about this one carefully. Your directions here are to multiply. That's what squaring something means. You're going to multiply. Alright, 6y minus 7, the whole thing getting squared. Let me tell you guys, we have not done something like this before. We have not. We have done problems like this, 6y to the 7th squared, where there was no plus or minus in between. We have never done a plus or a minus in between two terms, getting squared. No. Okay, that's what a lot of kids tell me at first. 36y squared plus 49. And to you I will say that's partially correct, but it is not correct. No, it is a plus. Guys, I'd love to explain to you how to do this if you would let me. You cannot do this in your head. This is just like the problems we did 5 minutes ago. This is a binomial times itself. That literally means 6y minus 7 is going to multiply by 6y minus 7. How many terms should you get? 4, not 2. So, when you see it written like this, please don't try to do it in your head, because you'll miss the middle terms. Yes, you do end up with the 36y squared, so that is partially correct. And at the end, you will have a positive 49. But you've also got two middle terms. 6y times 6y is how we get this. But look at the two middle terms. What's 6y times negative 7? Negative 42y. And then you do that again. Negative 7 times 6y is negative 42y. And then here, oops, not that one. Here's where we get that, this is where we get the plus 49.
Where are you getting 84?
Negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. And yes, you will need to simplify it. So 36y squared, I keep leaving out the 6, 36y squared minus 84y plus 49. Negative 42y and negative 42y make negative 84y's in the middle.
Take a look at the board.
Hush, please. All right, try this one. 2x minus 4, the whole thing squared. I'm glad y'all aren't hungry. Alright, keep in mind you cannot do this in your head. You need to write out 2x minus 4 right next to another 2x minus 4, or you're going to miss the middle terms. So, Michael, you want detention? Wasn't it your suggestion to only give the obnoxious loud people detention?
Okay, but like I'm solving that.
Alright, Jacob, tell me what you got here. Yes. Okay, that's okay. He just has it out of order. You got 4x squared somewhere. Tell me what else you had. Negative 16x. Then a plus 16. Make sure you have the signs here. And what we want to do, Jacob, though, is put them in order from highest down to lowest. So I would like you to have your answer in this order. It is 4x squared minus 16x plus 16. This is the answer right here. Alright, guys, try these pictures, please. Here's a square with a side of 7x minus 6. Get quiet. Here is a rectangle with a side of... Oh wait, let me do another square. We'll move on to rectangles next. I want to show you the difference between what we learned today and what we already know how to do, or what you should already know how to do. I want you to give me the area and perimeter of both of these pictures. You multiply for area, you multiply 7x minus 6 times 7x minus 6, side times side, which is what we just learned how to do. Zacchaeus, please stop talking. No.
Oh, okay, so I got it right. I just don't know multiplication.
No, you missed the middle term. You've got to write it out side by side.
No.
Yes, you should have 4 little products, and the 2 in the middle will add up.
Yeah, plus 36. That's what I got. But I just, instead of a plus, I just
You don't have your middle term. Thank you.
skipped.
Okay, but it's not right, Michael.
It is right.
No, what you said is nowhere close to being right.
But Mackenzie and Tina said it.
No, Mackenzie, what did you say the answer is?
Oh, I forgot the line.
Minus 84x and then a plus 36. Yes. Okay, this is what we just learned. You got to do 7x minus 6 times 7x minus 6. That's a binomial times a binomial. You should get 4 little products. All right, now perimeter. Perimeter is just take that side and multiply by 4. What's 7x minus 6? The whole thing times 4. 28x minus 24. On perimeter, your exponents never change. We had x's in our question, we have x's in our answer. We had a constant in our question, we have a constant in our answer. Yes, if the dimension of the square has a plus or a minus, you can't do it in your head. You got to write it out side by side and do that FOIL thing. Well, it depends. If we'll do 2 rectangles in a minute, which we were going to do anyway. All right, now this is what we already knew. Area here is 7x to the 6 times 7x to the 6. Or you could do 7x to the 6 squared. And that you can do in your head. There's no plus or minus in there. What is that? 49x to the 12th. For perimeter, you take that side and you multiply by 4. You're going to get 28x to the 6. On area, your exponent changes. On perimeter, it doesn't, always. All right, let's do some rectangles. Number 10, please try this one. 3x minus 5, 2x plus 4 are your dimensions for length and width. I want you to give me area and perimeter. Okay, number 10 is just Okay, so for area of the top one, you got to use that FOIL method because you're doing 2x plus 4 times 3x minus 5. You're doing a binomial times a binomial. So you need to write them side by side. 6x squared. Yeah, initially you'd get a negative 10x and a positive 12x, and then a negative 20. But what do these two add up to? Yeah, so your final answer here is 6x squared plus 2x minus 20. That's the area. Perimeter is not so bad. Perimeter is add up all of the sides. Now don't forget there's another 3x minus 5 over here. There's another 2x plus 4 over here. What's a 3x plus a 3x plus a 2x plus a 2x? 10x. And a negative 5 plus a negative 5 is negative 10. Positive 4 and positive 4 is positive 8. So the total of those is negative 2, minus 2. All right, now number 11 is really not today's lesson. Number 11, there was one like this on your last daily grade. It's not really FOIL because it's a monomial times a binomial. So for area, you just distribute this times this. What's the area of this guy? 6x to the 4th minus 4x to the 3rd. Perimeter, add up like terms, and there's a bunch of them. Write in all 4 sides. I see a bunch of groups of x squareds. 2x squared, 2x squared, 3x squared, 3x squared. That's 10x squareds. And then I see a negative 2x and another negative 2x. Minus 4x. That's the perimeter. All right, your homework. Now, this is what I did for my other classes. They were quiet and good, and I took off 5 of the problems that I was planning on giving for homework. Plus, the Astros are playing tonight, so y'all need to watch the Astros and root for the Astros. However, if we can't walk to and from lunch, your 5 problems are coming back on. So right now, assuming you're going to be good on the way to lunch, your homework is page 173. I'm sorry. Yeah, 173. 11 through 25, just like last night was 11 through 25. Right now that's 15. It was 20. So don't make me add back those 5 questions. The Astros win the Super Bowl. You mean the World Series? All right, make sure you write this down. When we get back from lunch, we're going to grade homework.